whether he wants to call or raise. Viffer is a loose player, and he raised from the cutoff, which means his range includes lots of hands that are worse than ace-queen.
Antonio re-raises to 9,000. Chau folds. Rick Rahim. Ace-6 offsuit.
With a raise and a re-raise, this would be a very loose call.
Rick folds. Action back to Viffer.
Viffer's got position, and he might be thinking that he can push Antonio off certain hands on the flop.
Viffer calls.
Bit of a loose call from Viffer, but he's done well with suited kings earlier in the session.
The flop, 9 king queen, top pair for Viffer, middle pair for Esfandiari. Antonio checks. Viffer checks.
Both players playing a bit cautiously now.
5 of diamonds on the turn. Antonio checks again.
Viffer's probably pretty confident he has the best hand at this point.
But he checks. Board pairs on the river.
With the way the action's gone, Antonio may think his queen is good.
Antonio checks. Viffer fires 15,000.
It's a pot-sized bet here on the river. Looks like Antonio was maybe expecting a check behind. Size of the bet is confusing because the play was passive up to this point. Now Viffer's showing a lot of strength.
I feel like you got there, Viff.
9-ball, corner pocket.
Feels like it. It really does.
Antonio's wondering if all the checking allowed Viffer to catch a third 9.
It's amazing. You know what I have.
You have 2 jacks?
Viffer's a little off, but still putting Antonio on a hand he can beat. The school of Viffer says bet, 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 so it might be tough for Antonio to give him credit for having a hand.
You have a king, huh?
Do I need a king?
Antonio calls.
Somehow Viffer's talked Antonio into making the call. Very nice value bet from the Viff.
Those raggedy kings are working out for you so far.
Any king will do.
Apparently.
Knew you had a king. Nice hand.
Viffer wins the biggest pot of the night of almost $50,000.
Antonio knew he had a king, but paid $15,000 to confirm his read.
See, if this wasn't on TV, Antonio would have folded for sure because he knew. But for the off chance, he just didn't want to risk like me turning over like the 4-5.
If this weren't on TV, Antonio may not be so quiet right now.
Am I right?
Pretty close.
Welcome back to Las Vegas and the big game. Viffer just doubled up his profits after that last hand against Antonio Esfandiari. He is now up more than $51,000 tonight.
The school of Viffer prepares you well for the real world.
The loose cannon on the wrong side of things right now. Limps in. Viffer calls. Buries in as well. Antonio on the button. Calls.
I could raise the whole field. Let's go.
I hope I have a raising hand. Pretty good.
Rick's actually got the best hand for the moment.
All right.
Bach.
Rick checks his option.
I'm pretty sure I have the
That
best
was like
hand.
false advertising.
I'm pretty sure I have the best hand. If he had folded, I'm raising.
That's how strong Chau's calling them small blind. Chau in the small blind scares everyone.
Family pot to the flop, which is 8 tray king. Chau checks. Bottom pair.
I'll take a shot. 25.
Middle pair for Rick. Fires 2,500. Loose cannon folds.
Any raggedy king? King 3 or king 8 this time?
I have a good king this time.
Do you?
A good king.
Oh, then maybe I can beat you.
Viffer calls with top pair. Action folds to
You have a
Chau.
bad king?
No.
He folds.
Well, that's good. That means he probably won't hit his third king.
Viffer does have a good king this time. Rick's looking for an ace and 8 or running clubs.
Instead sees a 4.
That'll slow me down.
Rick checks.
I either got there or I'm scared that you got there.
Viffer checks.
This isn't true. You were already there.
5 of spades on the river.
I'm pretty sure I got the best hand.
Don't these guys know they're supposed to keep their hands a secret?
All right, let's try 6,000.
Rick bets 6,000. Viffer calls the bluff.
No spade, you win. King what? King of spades? No, King of spades is out there. King 10. You call with no spade? I am so outclassed here.
Not only did he call him, he beat him into the pot.
And Viffer wins 20 grand.
Wow. Nice hand. Nice hand.
Viffer picked off the bluff by Rick, who's been the aggressor at this table so far, Joe.
Player's aggression factor applies to post-flop actions only, and right now Rick is already at 8. This may explain why Viffer called him down so light on that last hand. Rick seems to bet almost every time when he's checked to, and Viffer may be picking up on that.
You should not sleep well with that call.
He won't sleep well on new sheets he bought with your money.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to steam raise this hand.
All right.
Well, nice to announce your intentions. Viffer straddles, so action on Barry, ace-9 suited. Raised to 2,500. Action folds to the loose cannon. Ace-9 suited as well.
Decent hand, and we know Troy likes to defend his big blind.
He does so by calling. Oh, pocket kings for Viffer.
Pretty lucky to wake up with 2 kings in the straddle.
Raises to 10 grand.
Regardless of whether he has a hand or not, this is a squeeze play. And Viffer is capable of squeezing with far worse than 2 kings. Barry's trying to figure out how often he'd do it with a hand worse than ace-9.
Barry figured it out and folded. So's the loose cannon.
This is your show, Tipper.
My show? See, any kings will do, but 2 of them are better.
With 2 of them, you really have kicker problems. So.
See, I know you got kids. I don't want to.
I could have beat you right
You don't
there.
want him to think you're robbing it.
I could have flopped a straight flush. You never know.
I understand. I don't want to. I would never abuse the children, actually.
That's not what I heard. Maybe
He
not.
will.
Maybe not his
He
children.
raised me 25 times so far. He don't care.
Barry would re-raise his own kids if he thought they were putting in dead money.
Need some change.
What do you need?
Barry under the gun this hand. 8-6 suited. Raises to 1,500.
Barry's decided to continue to ride his bully reputation by raising light under the gun.
Chau also suited. Calls. Rick on the button.
Wow. Here comes the worst player with the worst hand.
Story checks out.
Calls.
That is, of course, unless my friend at the other end decides to get in the plat.
Jack deuce.
Why does everybody always pick on the fat guy?
Oh!
He's got all the chips now.
You talking about you or me?
Now come. Yeah, but see, you got muscle.
I had my head down. I thought he was talking about me.
No.
Then you said the fat guy on the game. You jumped on him too.
3 to the flop. 7 Jack 4. Barry bets 3,000 with a flush draw. Chau folds.
Barry's also got a gut shot. It's a semi-bluff.
Rick calls with bottom pair.
Rick knows Barry continuation bets like it's going out of style, so maybe his 4 is good.
It's not anymore. Barry connects on the flush and checks. Rick bets 3,000.
If you check to Rick, he's going to bet, despite the fact that both open-ended straight and flush draws have hit. Yep. You didn't misread your hand, Barry. That really just happened.
And Barry just calls. The river. The 8 of spades. Barry checks again.
Check 1 pair, Barry. I'm pretty sure you win.
Yeah, I win.
Yeah, Barry wins a pot of nearly $18,000.
Nice hand.
Barry's probably a little bummed Rick did make one of those classic river bluffs.
Barry. Actually, Barry does not have it out for you. He's actually probably rooting for you.
For sure.
I'm just.
Actually,
The way the loose cannon thing works, if you're not in with him, you're always rooting for him. For sure. Everyone.
See, if you're not in with him, so he's the
No,
only
I
one
mean,
in
if you're
with him.
not. No, I'm saying if you're not in the hand with him, you're always rooting for him.
Barry Greenstein pockets some change in the last few hands to put him up over 20 grand, but it's Viffer who leads the way with the most profits. Meanwhile, the loose cannon has dug himself an early hole. He's down almost 23K.
Remember, Troy only keeps the money he earns above 100K, and with 122 hands to go, it's early, but he's going to have to get on his horse soon.
All right, guys, that'll do it for tonight. You feeling all right?
Great,
Stack
great.
is slipping just a little.
Just a little bit. Barry keeps killing me, but I think
It's Barry?
Calling me with flush draws.
It looks like yours is just going up, David. Up, up, up.
That's the plan. I've gotten lucky so far.
You think that's it, luck?
I mean, and bad
him.
players, you know.
All right, guys, that's it for
Sloppy.
tonight. I'm Amanda Leatherman saying goodbye for now. And remember, if you've got the cash and the guts, there's always a seat open at the big game. See you next time.
If you want to appear on the big game and be a loose cannon, simply log on to PokerStars.net. There are free qualifying tournaments every day. For Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose. We'll see you tomorrow night.
What do you think of the loose cannon?
Loose Cannon's a good player, you can already tell. But
We're talking about him like he's not here.
yeah, no, he's okay, but it's a tough situation. If you don't pick up any cards, you only have one bullet. Makes it tough.
The preceding program was sponsored by PokerStars.net.